I'm Dr. Gail Gross. Today my guests are two extraordinary people who happen to be married to each other. Beloved film and television star Ernest Borgnine had his breakout role in the 1953 film From Here to Eternity. His prolific career includes appearances in over 100 films, 3 television series, and voiceover work in animated features. In 1955, he beat out Spencer Tracy and Frank Sinatra to win the Oscar for Marty. From 1962 to 1966, he was one of the most memorable faces on television for his lead role in the series, McHale's Navy. He has been awarded several honorary college doctorates and numerous Lifetime Achievement Awards. Ernie's wife, Tova, is a successful businesswoman in her own right. After working as a model and actress on the East Coast, she moved to Las Vegas and became a highly regarded makeup artist. The dry desert air led to her search for the ultimate botanical skincare program, and Cactus Mask was born. Her skin treatment became an overnight success and provided a foundation for Tova Corporation. Today, she hosts the highly popular QVC program, Beauty by Tova, and her signature fragrance is the #1 selling fragrance on television and was recently nominated for the Fragrance Foundation's Hall of Fame Award. She has written a book on their successful marriage, and we have them both here today to talk about it. Ernie and Tova, welcome. It is so great having the two of you here today.
Oh.
I am overwhelmed. I'm so excited, and I know you both so well. That's what's really great. But I want you to tell your story. And I'll start with Ernie. Tell us how you actually got into the movies.
Well, I didn't get into the movies right then. I spent 10 years in the Navy before I ever got into motion pictures and television. I came home one day from the war and World War II. And after a couple of weeks at home, my mom says, well, one of those kind of wells that you're going to get a job or what? So I went out and looking for work, and I just couldn't see myself going into those factories locked up there for 10, 12 hours a day, So I'd take my lunch and go to see a movie or go somewhere and do something and go home at night. And one day I came back, and I was looking rather disgusted and disgruntled, I guess. My mother looked at me, she said, what's the matter, Ernie? And I said, Mom, for 2 cents I'll go back in the service, do my other 10 years, and get a pension. At least I'll have something coming in. And out of a clear blue sky, she said, have you ever thought of becoming an actor? Because you always like to make a damn fool of yourself in front of people. Why don't you give it a try? And so help me, Gail, I looked up there, and I saw that golden light. I said, Mom, that's what I'm going to be. And 10 years later, I had an Academy Award.
Amazing.
Don't ask me how.
It's a simple way to get there.
Mother got a sign from God. This is what happened.
I'm telling you, my mother never saw me on the screen, never saw me on the stage, but one time before she passed away. And but she said, whatever you do, stay with it because you're going to make it. I feel you're going to make it. So I stayed, and well, I guess I made it.
What a story. What a story. And Ernie, then, of course, you had this incredible role in From Here to Eternity and should have had an Oscar for that, and then got that Oscar for Marty and beat out twice, I might add, Frank Sinatra.
A woman rushed out this morning, and she said, I was over at Costco, as a matter of fact. She said, Mr. Borgnine? I said, yes. She said, I just saw Marty. Oh, my goodness, I never seen such a wonderful picture.
Yes.
So thank you. Right. It's so heartening to hear people say that you brought a little joy into their lives.
Oh, I know.
And that's what counts most of all in my life, is bringing some happiness into people's lives. Because my mother said to me one time, if you can make a person happy in a span of 24 hours, you've accomplished a great deal.
Yes, that's the story of entertainment, really.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. And your Navy career then in a certain way prepares you for McHale's Navy, this unbelievable long-running. we still see
I did
this
everything in
today.
McHale's Navy you couldn't do in a regular Navy.
Right.
Do you know that the British Admiralty would not let the picture be shown in England?
Come on.
Because they said, no sailor should ever act that way, you know? Well, okay.
And you know, it's still a wonderful show today. It still holds up.
Yeah.
Tell us how you made that conversion from the theater art, the art of movie making, and then to a television sitcom.
Oh, golly. I had gone to Italy for a year or so to make some pictures over there. And when I came back, I was rattling around the house for a while, and my agent said, listen, we've got a thing called McHale's Navy. We want you to play this lieutenant commander and everything else. Explained it all to me. And you like boats, and you like the water. And yes. And so he said, we need you, you know, and we'd like to have you as soon as possible. And I said, you know, I'm a motion picture actor now. And I said, I don't really want to get back into television anymore because, you know, I like motion pictures. Okay, but if you change your mind, let me know. Next morning, knock on the door. There was a young man selling chocolate bars for some high school out there in the valley. And he said, would you like them? Sure, okay. So he reaching for the money, and he said, Mister, you look awfully familiar. What's your name? And I kiddingly said, my name is James Arness.
No.
He said, no, he does Gunsmoke. I said, no. I said, my name is really Richard Boone. He said, no, he does Have Gun Will Travel. I said, son of a gun, this kid really knows them all. I'll get him now.
Television.
I said, my name is really Ernest Borgnine. Absolutely
Blank.
nothing. Here's your money, kid. Thank you very much. Put down the chocolate bars, call the agent. Said, that part's still open?
Right.
And he said, yes.
And that rest was history. Well, then you went from this world of sitcom to animation. And tell the story that we talked about.
You mean about my being recognized?
Yes, by the little child.
I had been to this press club, as a matter of fact, and I gave a little talk over at the Washington Press Club. And I was quite honored, really. And at the end, they said, listen, there's a whole group of Girl Scouts that came by, and they're taking their picture and everything else. Would you mind taking a picture with them? I said, no, not at all. So we walked over, and these girls had given a whole truckload of cookies and sent them over to a rack for the boys. And I said, that's marvelous, you know. And do you know who I am? No answer. Have you any of you ever seen my pictures? No. I took the bull by the horns. I said, have any of you ever seen SpongeBob? Yes, yes. Well, I said, I play the part of Mermaid Man. Oh, my God, it's like, I mean,
You see, another generation.
I love doing that voiceover because it's like stealing money, you know.
You're so talented, and of course, when you are an entertainer, and you're a great entertainer, it moves across all creative lines. You can do it all.
Thank you very
well,
much.
so as being this very creative person, how did you meet this gorgeous, brilliant woman over here? Tell.
Oh, let's see. How much do I owe you for all this?
Let's tell the story of how you both got together, how you met.
She had come over doing something here in Los Angeles, and Marty Allen, the whole bushy-haired comic, you know, and his wife Frenchie, who had since passed away, God bless her, they invited me to the birthday party, Marty Allen's birthday party.
Yes.
And I said, they said, you got to bring a girl. I said, no, forget it. I said, I'm through with women. I'm even thinking of taking up with men. They said, no, wait a minute. We know a girl that you can bring, and she's staying at the hotel over there because she's here for a couple of 3 hours, and bring her. You bring her. You find her. I said, okay, Marty, as a favor to you, I'll do it. So in comes this redhead.
Gorgeous redhead.
And I looked at this girl, and I looked again, and she said, hello, I'm Tova, and so on, so on, so on. I said, oh, then this is the girl that I'm supposed to date. And she came over and sat down, and we started talking, and we're still talking.
Yes.
32 years later.
No, actually 33.
What, Ellen?
33 years in March.
Oh, well, 33 years knowing
years.
each other. But 32
long
years
time.
married.
Marriage. And then that brings me to you, Tova, to this incredible life together. I mean, you weren't Mrs. Borgnine number 1,
No, I'm Mrs. Borgnine number 5.
but the last Mrs. Borgnine.
Yes, and also Ernie's lucky number is 5.
Oh, very good.
Now, but I'll tell
but he
you,
never
before
got-
we go any further, I must say this, and just to save myself a little bit. I never did get married to get a divorce. I don't think any man does.
No.
I think it's stupid to get married to the one you love and everything else, and then get a divorce.
Right.
That's crazy.
It's true.
I don't know what happened, but during that time, it just seems that something just didn't gel.
Yes.
And you thought at the beginning it was going to be wonderful, and this is the one, and everything else.
Yes.
Now, I was married to a lovely lady for 32 days. And what happened is this. We took a trip from here to Hawaii to Tokyo, everywhere, you know. And everywhere we went, Ernie Borgnine, oh my goodness. And yes, this is my wife, Ethel Merman.
Yes. Oh, my.
They didn't know her from Adam.
Oh, my.
And she kept getting madder and madder and just awful. And I'm saying to myself, I've done something wrong. I don't know what it is, but I couldn't understand it. Well, we finally got back, and we went to a party, and she ripped me up and down, and I walked out. And the next day I said, Madam, you go your way and I'll go mine. I said, it's better that way. That was it. Yeah. So very kindly, she put me in her book.
Ah.
She wrote a book, and it said, Ernest Borgnine at the top, blank page.
Oh, no.
That's quite a compliment, actually.
Well, actually, it's very expansive.
No,
Right,
she
you
was,
could write notes.
she was
Yes.
a great entertainer, a great
Yes.
entertainer.
You know, there was something special here that connected and lasted and grew and still is growing. I know you so well. I know you've said how Tova's your best friend, how you can talk about anything, how you both trust each other. Tell us about how this marriage happened and how it grew into this beautiful relationship.
On my first date with Ernie, of course, we've just said it was Chasen's.
Not bad.
And not bad.
For starters.
But, you know, when you are not in the limelight or in
Yes.
the understanding of Hollywood, and especially the way Hollywood was, it was a little more civilized, a paparazzi way. But my third date with Ernie was actually the premiere of Cabaret. And there were 4,000 photographers with their cameras and everything, and it was very frightening. But he held on to me and made me feel secure.
Yes.
And if there's anything that Ernie has always done, number one, he said, whatever you do, you keep your feet on the ground. And the other is that we have had totally open communication from the minute we came together until today.
That's the whole thing about marriage, you know,
And-
communication.
And love each other and respect each other. And of course, Ernie's favorite line, because it's 31 years now, is that the reason the marriage is really so terrific is that we've only seen each other.
Half the time.
To take that segue to talk about something that you created, this incredible makeup line, which I wear, and you changed my lipstick from frosted to gloss. So I have to say, and I wear your perfume, which I love dearly.
Thank you, darling.
So tell us, how did that all start?
Well, first of all, I had wanted to be an actress before I met Ernie. I'd gone to school in New York, and
You were a
through the
model, I
process-
think,
Yes,
also.
a model and actress, starving, but at least working at it. And part of the course is to learn everything about makeup from A to Z.
Yes.
And I actually just found my passion early on, and then working a lot with the showgirls and the dancers in Las Vegas, I found that their skin after they're about 30 was not as good as their bodies. And I wanted to find a skincare solution for them. This is all before I met Ernie. And I'd found this family that had a legacy of a cactus recipe for skincare. And that was just about the same time as I had now had my blind date with Ernie.
So one day after we're married, she comes up and she said, Ernie, you see that room in there? I said, honey, that's not a room, that's a kitchen.
Thanks for sharing.
And she said, well, it may be a kitchen to you, but it's still a room to me. So she said, well, can I get into some kind of business? I said, what do you want to do? She told me.
So I wanted to make sure we got together with this. Now, I was preparing a complete profile for Saks Fifth Avenue because I knew that we had rediscovered the Fountain of Youth.
Yes. It's an amazing product.
But in the meantime, being that I was Ernie's fifth wife, there were a lot of people in the media that were interested in how long this marriage was going to last. Now, this is going back 31 years now. And Harry Scott, who I still bless to this day, came to the house to interview Ernie about the marriage. And Ernie turned it around saying, Harry, feel my skin. So Harry wrote a story. It was presented first in the Chronicle in San Francisco. And it happened to be one of those very rare days of a soft news day. And all the wires picked it up, UPI and AP and so forth. I was completely unbeknownst to me. I was a very dutiful Hollywood wife picking up Ernie's fan mail at the Beverly Hills Post Office.
A complete job in itself.
That's right. Very big job. And the postmaster said, Mrs. Borgnine, today there's a sack of mail. It's about 3.5 feet high. Do you want one of the guys to put it in your car? I said, sure. Thinking it was all for Ernie. And I opened $56,000 in the mail that day.
Wow.
Big problems, however.
Wow.
One is I didn't know what mail order was. 2, I didn't have the product. And 3, when I called the postmaster, he said, you must get every order to these people within 30 days, or we put you in federal prison.
This is a problem.
Big problem.
So what did you do?
Well, he immediately called me.
As a matter of fact, I did. I did ask him. He was doing the Black Hole at Disney at the time.
And I said, do you want to be in this business? She said, yes. I said, then it's time to start. Yeah. Bam, off she went.
Oh, wow.
And
I helped. I was on the end of the packaging and everything.
All the way through, in every way.
Incredible.
But the company, the Tova Corporation, was put together in 6 weeks.
You are a risk. Both of you are risk takers.
Oh, there were times, I'll tell you, when she went out of the house crying. I don't want to go anymore. I said, you wanted it? Go
for it.
Get out of here. And by golly, she went. And I have to give her all the praise in the world because she did it. She did it on her own. And by golly, she proved herself right. And, hey, that's what it's all about.
And ultimately became the largest seller on QVC.
In
perfume, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nobody has ever sold this amount of perfume the way she does.
Ever. And it's all around the world, really.
It's now, actually
England,
globally. It's in the UK, Germany,
She also
and
sells in London. She sells in Germany, Dusseldorf.
Yes.
She also they're thinking of bringing her over to Japan.
Oh, my.
So it's going to be worldwide.
Worldwide. Yeah. What a success story. Well, tell us about this marriage that came together. What do you feel is the secret? Just both of you jump on in here. What are the keys to this happy marriage, and what made you write a book about it?
Well, first of all, I think the keys to this marriage is that we have a deep and everlasting love for each other.
Yes.
But at the same time, we have built over all these years a trust in the relationship, these are 2 keys. And then if there are any problems, we communicate on all levels.
Yes.
We talk it out. We, if there are, let's say I like yellow paint and he likes chartreuse. I mean, obviously
neither.
Then there's a compromise.
Yes.
And marriage is about a constant needing to, wanting to be with each other. And if there are times of being apart, you are always connected by some form of communication, whether it's telephone or now teleconferencing or anything like that.
So you talk
love
all the
letters
time.
and so on. But you always keep the love alive.
In this day and age also, you have to be married to the girl that you want, not to the one that's passing by,
Yes, this is
or
the
the one
thing.
that's over the fence. Say, "Oh my goodness, isn't that nice?" No, you're married. It's all right to look,
A commitment.
but you're married to a lovely lady who you decided, by golly, for all time to be with her and to be your husband. That's what it's all about.
But it's difficult when you're acting.
Well,
I
we're more
think.
in the public eye. That's what it is.
Isn't it true, or you help me here, aren't there more temptations when you're having a love scene or, you're involved?
It's so good that Ernie's a character
actor. I tell you what, I went home one time after doing a scene with a woman where I was supposed to fly through the air and jump on the bed with her and everything else. I went home, I had the sorest knees.
You can say
they
who
were
it is.
rubbed.
Who was
Raquel
it?
Welch.
Oh, Raquel Welch.
We
Wow.
were with her recently, and she
Wow.
remembered it quite well.
Wow. But basically what you're saying is it's work. You're doing your job.
Well, I think that there are temptations within this
Every career.
Yeah, but
course
within
there are.
this industry, perhaps more so because it is so open
And celebrity.
Yeah, and celebrity, but also it's always, if you even say hello to someone and it is a friendship, it is already blown up to be something else. So there are definitely more temptations, but it's like anything else. And I go back to what Ernie said to me when I was brand new in Hollywood as a wife, and that is whatever you do, just keep both feet on the ground.
Yes.
And it has helped me immensely.
In all walks of
In
life.
everything and everywhere I have been and gone and had the privilege of being part of.
Yes, and you have such a poignant story. I wonder if you'd share with us the story of your son.
Yes. Well, you asked the question in regard to how did the book come about. The book was actually presented to me by Putnam. They asked me to do a book on marriage, and a large part because, obviously, living in Hollywood and so on. And I had to reflect on how deep I wanted the reader to know me. And I decided that if I was going to do this book, they first had to know who and what I was, and obviously in our marriage.
Yes.
But when I was, and this was when I was like 17 years old, so we're going back many years here. And I was in love with a man, but I got pregnant out of wedlock. And I lived with that to a point where I had to go through many, many years of therapy to deal with it. But I gave my little boy up for adoption when he was 3 days old.
Yes. How did you come together? How did you find David again?
Well, my mother and I were on the quest to find David, and we were getting into wall after wall after wall. But somehow, David, my son, also had a sister who was also adopted, who heard about this, and literally called my mother, found the number, and called her and said, "I know where David is." I sat down and wrote a letter to David, and it took about a ream of paper before it came out right, because I had gone through all of the guilt, so I didn't want to play into this letter. But at the same time, I also wanted to say, you don't have to see me, you understand. I just want to know that you're okay. And he wrote me back one way, and the words I'll never, ever forget, where he said, "I had a very good childhood." Now I'm going to start crying, and it's all tears of joy, not. And I just am so happy that I was had.
Oh.
And in 91, March 8th, as a matter of fact, of 1991, we met for the first time, and he's just a joy and brilliant, wonderful.
He's
and
a genius at computing.
Yes.
Computers.
The book actually evolved out of that,
and that's such an honest. That book is so amazing.
It's a good book.
It's a great book, because I always say a good book has to be honest. And that's when you almost forget about writing it, because you have to make that choice, that decision, because a reader is so savvy and they know when you're telling the truth, and you have to make that decision to tell the truth, as you do in acting. And what an amazing outcome. It's a a book for everyone.
Yeah, well, I feel that that book is for every relationship. Obviously, it deals with marriage, but it's for relationships, period. And Ernie shares a great deal of what happened during our early years of marriage and what we felt, how we overcame obstacles. And therefore, it is 22 secrets, which were our secrets, shared with them, but are typical of any relationship. 12 strategies.
Which are?
Which are so many, you have to read the book.
Well, I have.
And then 8 compromises.
Yes. Give us some of the strategies.
Well, strategy is, in other words, the way your reaction to his action is very important.
Wind herself right around my little finger.
That's the key.
That's what it's all about.
But it is really, there's no role in a marriage, by the way.
No.
So that that's also one of the strategies.
You become one, don't you?
You must understand that you leave the role-playing outside of the door.
Yes. I love that. Sort of also leave your ego outside the door.
Absolutely.
Well, the two of you have been a joy. This has been a
Gail.
wonder for me, and I've loved having you.
Well,
and
Gail, it's
next
been
year
our
we'll do it
pleasure,
again.
too.
Next year we'll do it again. Thank you for coming.
Thank
you
you.
for sharing your romance.
Thank you.
Pleasure, darling.
I'm Dr. Gail Gross, and thank you for watching.